All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. We're looking at June 14th. It might sound like just another day on the calendar, but it is actually one of the absolute greatest dates in all of math history. We're talking about a single date where brilliant minds spread across completely different centuries literally changed the world we live in today. Seriously, on this exact same date, across 4 totally different eras, 4 incredible people laid the groundwork for the modern tech and the massive structures we rely on every single day. We're going to meet them one by one and see exactly how their discoveries connect straight to your life right now. Let's start with something you probably see all the time in any modern city. Have you ever actually stopped to wonder what the invisible force is that keeps those massive buildings, giant suspension bridges, and, towering skyscrapers perfectly safe? Like, why don't they just sink into the ground or collapse under their own weight? Well, the answer to that takes us back to our first stop on the timeline, June 14th, 1736, and a guy named Charles Augustin Coulomb.
So Coulomb was this brilliant mathematician who used something called the calculus of variations. Now, that's really just a fancy way of saying he found the absolute most efficient way to solve massive, real-world structural problems. He figured out the exact math behind how masonry piers break under pressure, how to design vaulted arches that are actually safe, and he even created this thing called the sliding wedge theory to understand exactly how soil pushes back against heavy foundations. Basically, he hammered out the exact mathematical blueprint we still use today so our heavy buildings don't, sink into the earth or fall over.
It absolutely blows my mind, but it brilliantly illustrates how every single solid structure we stand on is deep down secretly made of math. Okay, so we're still on June 14th, but let's jump forward 120 years to 1856. We're in a completely different country now looking at a brand new mystery. Think about your smartphone for a second. Have you ever wondered how your phone's keyboard magically guesses your next word? I mean, how does predictive text or autocorrect know exactly what we're going to type before our fingers even hit the keys? For the answer to that, meet our second June 14th birthday boy, Andrei Markov. Markov studied sequences of events where the next step depends entirely on whatever's happening right now. He created what we call Markov chains to find hidden patterns in seemingly random events. And get this, the very first thing he applied this to was predicting the sequence of vowels and consonants in classic literature. It's wild. By inventing these Markov chains, he essentially created the foundation for stochastic processes, which is really just a complicated way of saying math that predicts unpredictable things. And yep, this is the exact same math powering the AI, the autocorrect, and all those predictive algorithms on the phone in your pocket right now. What's really cool about this is it shows us that we can actually predict the future just by deeply, mathematically understanding the present, one single step at a time. All right, still June 14th, but now we fast forward 47 years to 1903, leading us straight into the dawn of the digital age. Here's something to think about. How does a computer actually understand the instructions to, say, run your favorite video game? How does a simple block of metal and plastic process millions of complex instructions to render those incredible digital worlds we play in? The answer to mystery number 3 brings us right to Alonzo Church, born June 14th, 1903. Back in the 1930s, Church created something called the Lambda calculus. Now, think of it like a universal system of logic. It was a mathematical rulebook that literally defined the very concept of what a machine can and cannot calculate. By doing that, he laid the absolute bedrock foundation for theoretical computer science. His work quite literally became the foundational language for computer scientists and software programmers all over the globe. So every single app you open, every website you browse, every game you play, they are all secretly speaking the mathematical language this guy invented. It's literally the hidden grammar of every digital world we build today. Let's keep moving. We're jumping up to 1917 now to see how this all builds to our fourth and final, honestly incredible June 14th mystery. So whenever we send a private message, log into our banking app, or buy something online, how do we know our info is perfectly secure from hackers? Like, what is actually keeping our private internet data safe from prying eyes?
That brings us to our fourth June 14th genius, a mathematician named Atle Selberg. Selberg dedicated himself to the deep, mind-bending mysteries of prime numbers. Those numbers that can only be divided by 1 and themselves. He actually found an elementary proof for the prime number theorem and mapped out their incredibly complex distribution using these amazing tools like the Selberg sieve. It's basically a mathematical filter used to hunt down prime numbers. And why on earth does that matter to us? Well, because those exact prime numbers are the mathematical tools we use to encrypt and lock down all of our internet data today.
It's no exaggeration to say that without his breakthroughs, the secure internet as we know it simply wouldn't exist. Those prime numbers are literally the invisible locks protecting our entire digital lives. So, looking back at every single person we've talked about in this explainer today, scattered across totally different centuries and countries, they all actually asked the exact same fundamental question. What is the pattern hiding inside the chaos? Whether it was Coulomb in 1736 making our massive buildings safe, Markov in 1856 laying the groundwork for our AI, Church in 1903 giving logic to our computers, or Selberg in 1917 securing our modern internet. Because they refused to give up, because they searched for those patterns hiding in the chaos, our world today is safe, connected, and just incredibly advanced. It's pretty wild to think that these brilliant minds all share a June 14th birthday, but more importantly, it proves that the math to change the world is just out there, right now, waiting for someone to notice it. So I'll leave you with this thought. The math is out there waiting for you. What pattern are you going to discover today?